Welcome to Uplift, inspiring stories to uplift the world. I am Gemma Serenity Gorokov, your host, and today we have Lord Shiraz Baboo, who is South African and Canadian. How did you get your lordship, especially if you're not British?
It's not that hard. You can just Google how to become a lord or lady, and there you can purchase 3 square feet of land in the UK. And by buying that, which costs about $65 Canadian, you become a lord or lady. Not hard at all.
That's super fun, super fun. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? We have energetic magic as your value, your business, your pleasure, what you love to give to the world. Tell us about magic.
About magic. Well, everyone can tap into magic. And most people don't realize this. They think you require all sorts of special skills or training, and some people think magic isn't real, but magic is happening all the time. And I discovered this because I was in that space where magic isn't real and you just have to deal with what life gives you. And I was having a pretty good life. I was studying to become a doctor. I was a bodybuilder. I was at university. And I thought everything was going to just turn out beautifully for my life. I had my whole map of my life planned out. This is what I'm going to do. And then I got rheumatoid arthritis. And it hit me hard and it hit me in every single joint in my body. So there were nights where I sipped my dinner through a straw because my jaw was so swollen and painful I couldn't move it. So every joint, all the fingers, the back, everything. So this spiraled me into depression,
Of course.
right? Because I'm thinking, well, why is this happening to me? Right? What did I do to deserve this? And of course, what am I supposed to do now? I had to drop out of university. I could barely move at the time. Spent days or weeks in bed in pain, and then it would lighten up and I'd be able to move. And I tried everything you're supposed to do. Right? I tried medication, and I don't like whoever invented arthritis medicine with childproof caps because you can't open the caps. And I tried diet and supplements. I started doing things like yoga and acupuncture, and not just for like short periods of time. I was suffering with this for 18 years. So I try something for a year or two, and it's not working. Try another thing, try another thing. Nothing worked. And until finally I found out about a program called Combined Therapy over in India. And they apparently had success with multiple illnesses. And that's what caught my attention because usually go to some place for arthritis or cancer or diabetes. And from what I heard, they cure everything. And when I heard that, I'm like, well, why aren't they world famous? Why isn't everyone using this? And they said, don't know. Like, it's just been found to be very effective. So I flew to India and I started working with this guy. And because it was India, I thought it was going to be some sort of Reiki energy healing. It's like, let's just heal you. But all he did was talk to me for a few weeks. And he was like being with a psychiatrist, only he wasn't actually trying to solve anything. He was just gathering all this information on my life, on who I was, on what I think about. And at the end of the session, he says, well, here's the problem. You think you're responsible for everyone in your life. And I said, no, I don't. And he said, oh, I know you don't think you do, but from everything you've told me, you've created this belief that you need to be responsible for everyone. And I said, okay, I know I'm a responsible guy. I don't think I'm responsible for everyone. But even if I am, what's that got to do with arthritis? There's no connection there. And he said, oh, no, you don't want to be responsible for everyone. And I said, obviously. And he said, and if you're lying in bed in pain, you don't have to be responsible for anyone. If you're struggling to get through the day, no one's going to ask you to take care of them. Your arthritis isn't your problem, it's your solution. And I thought, that's messed up. Like, why would I do that to my body just so I don't have to be responsible? And he said, well, that's what most chronic illnesses are. They're solutions for problems people don't realize they have. So I thought about this and I said, so wait a second. If what you're saying is true, then all I have to do is say I'm not going to be responsible for anyone else, and the arthritis should just magically go away. And he looked at me and said, yeah, but you have to believe it deep down in your heart that you don't have to be responsible for anyone, that they can get by without you. And so I said, okay, I'm not going to be responsible for anyone but me. When I woke up the next morning, there was no pain, there was no inflammation. I had more mobility. I could even breathe better. So I'm freaking out, right? Because it's been 18 years of trying everything. And this guy says, stop being responsible. And it's gone, right? so, and when I returned home, everyone was just amazed at what had happened. And no one asked me to be responsible for them because I created this belief as a child and it just stuck there in my subconscious until I knew so many people that it was just overwhelming. And so then my body created the solution. And here's the thing, this isn't just about illness. This is about everything in your life. Every consistent problem in your life is the solution for an emotional problem you're not looking at. Because your mind doesn't care about your physical life, doesn't care if you're rich or poor, doesn't care if you're healthy or sick. Right? It cares about how you feel. And it's trying to do one of two things. One, avoid emotional distress. If I couldn't take care of everyone, I would feel guilty. So in order to avoid the guilt, created arthritis. Now I can't take care of everyone, but I don't have to feel guilty because I have a reason why I can't. Number two is to get an emotional fix. For instance, let's say I decided that my life was a big struggle and I'm working all the time, but I'm not really creating success. And people around me going, don't worry, we got your back. We love you. We're going to cheer you on no matter what happens. Well, that feels like love. And my mind can make a decision that, well, if I start to succeed, I won't get them cheering on because there's no reason for them to cheer me on. So in order to keep getting all that love, I have to continue to struggle. Right? Now, this is all unconscious. Consciously, you're like, why am I not creating success? Why am I not doing better? Unconsciously, it's like, I got your back. You don't have to worry. You'll always get love from people because you keep struggling. And then when you let go of that belief, suddenly success shows up in you. When you let go of why you need to be sick, health shows up. When you let go of why you need to not have money, money shows up. And so all you have to do is instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Ask, why do I want this to happen? What is the underlying story that's there that's helping me emotionally? It always comes down to an emotion. And your life can change like magic when you start doing this.
I mean, I heard that and I experienced that quite a few times, but hearing it that concisely and explained that well, that's pretty rare. So thank you for that.
My pleasure.
So how long have you been pain-free? Because responsibility-free, basically.
So here's the crazy thing is I haven't because I was pain-free and responsibility-free, and I don't take on responsibility for anyone. However, there are moments in my life where other fears came up, and my body's go-to is arthritis. Right. So for when my business started to really expand and I started getting on bigger and bigger stages, the arthritis came back. And I'm like, why is the arthritis coming? I don't feel like I'm responsible for anyone. And then I worked with another coach, and we found out that when I was a kid, I used to watch this movie called The Warriors, and it was about gang wars in New York City. And action movie, I love action movies, so that was just something I really enjoyed. At the beginning of the movie, there was a guy giving a big speech in front of 10,000 people, and he got shot and died. And I watched that movie over and over and over again. So as I'm speaking in front of bigger and bigger crowds, my unconscious mind says, you know what happens when you reach 10,000 people, right? So how do we keep you from reaching 10,000 people? Oh, we know arthritis works. So that's why the arthritis came back. And so then once I work with that coach, I'm like, let go of that belief. That's not going to happen. No one's going to shoot you when you have 10,000 people. the arthritis went away overnight again. So now it's my early warning system. When I start to feel arthritis coming in, I know there's an emotional problem I got to deal with. I work with someone, clear that problem, and the arthritis goes away within the next day.
That is energetic magic. That is truly energetic magic. Wow. Okay. Okay. So now, how did you turn that into helping people?
So I have developed a technique where I can tell when your conscious beliefs match your unconscious beliefs. And so I will work with people, and someone will say, like, I want to make a lot more money. And I'll say, that's not actually coming up true. Right? I'm not calling them liars. I'm just saying your unconscious doesn't want you to make money. And so then we'll dig down to find out what is the actual issue. And it could be if I make lots of money, people are going to come up and say, could I have some? Can you invest in my company? Can you give to my charity? And you feel guilty or guilted into giving money for people, pressured into giving money. And again, emotions. You don't want to feel those emotions. So your mind says, well, if we don't make the money, we'll never have to feel those emotions. Problem solved. So then once we find out that's what it is, we clear that belief that you have to feel guilty when people ask you for money. You don't. You can say like, no. Like if you think it's a good cause, you're like, sure, I'll do it. Or if you don't, no, I won't. But if they're like, but I need it, I need it, I need it, and you decide I have to feel guilty because how badly and how desperate they feel, then they now control you. And your body is trying to keep other people from controlling you by creating illness or busyness or lack or whatever it is to keep you stuck. It's protecting you.
I know my husband oftentimes asked me, how is that lack of resources or lack of belief or lack of health or lack of whatever,
Yeah.
how is that serving you? And it always stunned me when he was going in that direction. Like, how is that serving me? It's not, it hurts. You know? And then it's like, yeah, okay. I know we debunked quite a few heavy lies that
Mhm.
we happen to believe in, but it really goes deep. I really appreciate how you have actually brought together this understanding that pain, lack, difficulty, scarcity, problems
Yeah.
are actually the solution to avoid feeling a certain way. However, it never takes into account how it makes you feel to actually put you in that situation.
Yeah. But it works at a hierarchy. So the worst emotions, the lowest frequency emotions are guilt, shame, hopelessness. So, in order to keep you from feeling that, you will feel fear or frustration, right? So, because those are higher frequency than the guilt or the shame. So, we'd rather do that. The other thing it can do is make you feel the emotion it doesn't want you to feel, like make you feel guilt, but make you feel it at a small amount as a reminder, like at this level, it's this amount. If we go do the thing you're trying to do that I'm trying to stop you from do, it could be this amount. So I'm going to keep giving you tasters of how bad guilt is so that you don't get the big amount of guilt. So those are the two ways it helps. It gives you a higher frequency emotion that still sucks, or it gives you the emotion to try to avoid, just to remind you, don't go there.
Extremely powerful. How can people reach out to you?
You can go to energeticmagic.com
Okay.
and all the information's there on what I do, my programs. And every month I do a free workshop where I will do this technique on certain people that attend on the workshop. I'll work one-on-one with you and clear those beliefs, and it takes about 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah. Because
Yep.
it's a belief, it's understanding. As soon as you can ask the right question, get the right. So do you use a muscular response to figure out if the body aligns?
No, I just go straight to your energy.
I know, it's amazing. It works. It works. Well,
Yep. I worked with thousands of people now, and varying results. People have gotten out of illness. People have made more money. They've gotten better relationships. One of my coaches actually attended an event I do every New Year's Eve, and me working with someone else for 5 minutes made him realize what story he was in. And the shift was so profound, he did an extra $3.8 million in business the next year. So, yeah, a lot can happen.
That's a good testimonial, especially when it was not even directed to him, but he got the point and he worked on it enough to release what
Well,
was
and
holding him back.
I'm not the one that's releasing the beliefs. I just guide you to the belief that you need to release. And then you have to be willing to release it. If you're not willing to release it, nothing happens, even though you know what the problem is. And some people aren't. Some people will say, well, if I let go of that belief, like one woman, she was a Russian woman. We talked about what was going on. She was struggling, all this hardship. And then I said, well, here's your problem. You were Russian. And she's like, what? And I said, you have an idea of what it's like to be Russian, which is hardship and struggle and being oppressed. And she's like, but that's what it means to be Russian. I said, no, I have a friend, Dmitry, and his idea of being Russian is parties and vodka and travel. And so that's what being Russian is to him. You have to give up what being Russian means to you. And she's like, I can't give that up. That's my culture. That's my heritage. Like, I wouldn't know who I was if I gave that up. And I'm like, but who you are is someone that's always going to struggle as long as you have that story. And she refused to let go of it. So it's on you to realize, okay, this story sucks. It may feel important, but it's doing is keeping you from having the life you want. And once you decide, okay, I'm done with that story, everything starts to change, and it can change really quickly. Like for me, I let go of that belief. Next night, arthritis gone.
I cannot imagine your feeling, your thoughts, your face when you're like, where is the pain?
It's
Hey,
done.
what's
What?
what?
And I'm testing
How?
everything. What's going on here? But when you look at it logically, if I um, if I didn't have the arthritis, the guilt would come back. So when I was trying all those methods, when I was trying the drugs, when I was trying the supplements, if they started to affect my body to make me healthier, then my mind said, we have to counteract this because suddenly we're going to have to deal with the guilt. So that's why for a lot of people, medication doesn't work, or they say try this diet to lose weight and it doesn't work because you don't want to lose the weight because it's important. You just don't know why.
Extremely powerful. And I know it's true by experience. Wow. Okay, Lord Shiraz Baboo, you have done something amazing today. You have awakened our audience to their unlimited potential by giving them a glimpse, an idea of why they suffer that much,
Mhm.
why they feel low, why it's not the way it is, and why they try to do something that never works. Because the problem is actually the solution to an underlying cause,
Yeah,
an underlying problem. And by addressing the underlying cause or the underlying problem or belief, it changes everything. Because the
exactly.
reason of being of that problem / solution is the
Mhm.
belief.
Yep.
Drop the belief, drop the problem. Done. It sounds very easy. It actually is, but only if you believe it is.
Yeah. So the way I describe it to my clients is this is very simple. It's just not easy because the steps are laid out and I can give you the belief right away. But what happens is you may change that belief and make a decision and think, and here's the catch for a lot of people that they don't realize it. So you may get out of that belief. However, that belief you've created has actually created a physical addiction in your body to that story you've been running. And when you get out of it, your body goes into withdrawal. It can send a signal to your brain to make you start believing that again, to just get back into that belief so that it can get back into its fix. So we call it reality addiction. And that's why people they go through a workshop or a retreat and they start to see their lives get better and better, and then they lose it after a few weeks or a few months. That's not because it didn't work. It's because you went into withdrawal. And when you start dealing with the withdrawal and acknowledging, oh, this is just withdrawal, you can stop the withdrawal and keep going higher. You go into a little bit more withdrawal, stop and go even higher, and then just keep going to get more success, better relationships, better health, whatever it is. Right? There's very few people dealing with reality addiction, but it's been proven scientifically that it's there.
That also explains why I experienced 15 years of domestic violence. Was it fun? No. Was it awful? Yeah. Was it always? No. I mean, please stop it. Yeah, right. But 15 years. Yeah, there was an addiction, a habit, a programming, a coming back, a like, ah,
Yep.
until the day I was actually ready to let go enough to
Mhm.
leave
Yes.
and dare to find out what was imaginary. In my imagination, outside was hell, but
Mhm.
inside was known. So yeah, it
Yes.
was bad, but it was known, so it was familiar. But outside
Yep.
was like, but if I go outside, well, I can tell you when I went outside, it was like so much easier. Oh my gosh, I was able to breathe finally. Oops.
Yes.
Think about that. That changes everything.
Mhm.
Wow. Thank you for clarifying how this energetic magic works. It's pretty amazing. Thank you.
Have fun with it. So,
We have fun with it. And our audience will have too. Thank you so, so much. Lord Shiraz Baboo, energeticmagic.com. Very, very grateful to have you today. Thank you again for being here.
thank you, Jeb. It's been a pleasure.